Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're looking to start a nonprofit in India. That's fantastic. But you're going to find out pretty fast that one of your first and maybe most important decisions is a legal one. So, today, we're breaking down exactly how to choose the right structure for your organization. You've got a vision, right? You want to start a charity, an NGO, something that's going to create real impact. But before you can get out there and change the world, you've got to get registered. And right here, this is your first huge decision. I know it might seem like just a bunch of paperwork, but trust me, whether you form a trust, a society, or what's called a Section 8 company, well, that's going to affect everything. How you're governed, who's on the hook if things go wrong, and just how much flexibility you have down the road. Now, you might be thinking, why isn't this more straightforward? Well, that's a great question. You've basically just stepped into what we can call the nonprofit maze. Let's take a look at why it can feel so complicated.
Okay, so here's the real reason it gets tricky. In India, unlike a lot of other areas of law, charity is governed at the state level. It's not a central government thing. And what that means is the rules can be wildly different depending on where you are in the country.
And this isn't a small difference. We're talking about a night and day situation. Take Maharashtra, for example. It's a high-regulation state. You've got a charity commissioner there watching every move you make. But then you look at New Delhi, no charity commissioner at all. That means way less state-level bureaucracy. This is exactly why some founders are really strategic about where they choose to register.
But look, don't worry. Even though it's a maze, the good news is there are clear paths through it. For our purposes, you've basically got three main options to choose from. Let's break down each one.
First up, we've got the Public Charitable Trust. The best way to think about this one is as the path of stewardship. It's where a small group of people are entrusted to look after assets for the public's benefit.
So what is a trust, really? At its heart, it's an arrangement where some kind of property, money, a building, whatever, is handed over to a group of people called trustees. They then have a legal duty to manage that property for a very specific charitable goal. The key phrase here is that the property legally vests in the trustees.
And that brings us to a really unique feature of trusts: stability. See, unless the founding document, the trust deed, says something different, being a trustee is often a lifetime appointment. This creates a very static, very stable board that's built for long-term consistency. So, how does a trust actually work day to day? Well, you only need 2 or 3 founders to get one started. There's no concept of members, so you don't have to hold annual general meetings. And when a trustee steps down, the remaining trustees just appoint a new one. But, and this is the big one, trustees are personally liable for the organization's debts. That means their own personal assets are potentially on the line. All right, path number 2, the charitable society. And this one, it operates on a totally different idea. If a trust is about stewardship by a select few, a society is all about association and democratic rule by a larger group of members. A society is basically a club for a good cause. It's a membership organization where a group of people come together for a shared purpose, and it's governed by a law that's been around since 1860. The key thing to remember here is that the power rests with the members. And you can see right away how different the governance is. You need at least 7 members to even start one. And it's that larger group of members that holds all the power. They have to hold annual general meetings where they vote, they elect their leadership, the managing committee, and they keep them in check. It's a much more democratic, dynamic setup. But you'll notice that the liability issue is still a potential concern for the members. All right, on to our third and final path, and this is the most modern of the bunch, the Section 8 company. This is the path of incorporation, and it borrows a lot of its structure from the for-profit business world. A Section 8 company is actually registered under the very same law as regular businesses. The huge difference is that it's legally bound to take any profits it makes and plow them right back into its mission, whether that's promoting art, science, education, you name it. It's nonprofit distributing, not necessarily nonprofit making. And this is the headline. The number one reason so many people choose this route: limited liability. This is an absolute game changer. It means the organization is its own legal person and the personal assets of the directors are protected. The company is responsible for its own debts, not you. The governance structure is going to look really familiar if you know anything about corporations. You need at least 2 founders, you have a board of directors, and yep, those annual general meetings are mandatory. And hey, here's a neat little perk. Because you register with the Central Registrar of Companies, you're guaranteed to get a unique name, which isn't always the case with trusts and societies.
Okay, so we've walked down all three paths. Now, let's do the most important thing. Put them side by side to make the choice crystal clear. This is where it all comes together.
So, when it all comes down to it, how do you actually pick one? It really boils down to a few key differences in how you want to run things, how much personal risk you're willing to take, and how much formal structure you actually need. Let's compare them head to head. This table right here, this is basically your decision-making cheat sheet. First, look at liability. It's the biggest difference. Only the Section 8 company gives you that limited liability protection. Then look at board rotation. A trust is built for stability, often for life. Societies and companies, they're built for change, with regular elections. And finally, look at the requirements for members and meetings. A trust is the most informal, while the other two have these mandatory annual check-ins.
But wait, it's just as important to know what doesn't change no matter which path you take. All three structures can apply for tax exemptions. All three can receive foreign funding, provided they follow the rules. All of them allow for reasonable pay for board members as long as it's in their charter. And they all have to follow the same basic laws when it comes to business income, labor, and GST. Your choice of structure doesn't get you a shortcut on these things. So you see, there's no magic bullet here. There isn't one best option. Small, family-run foundation might love the simplicity and control of a trust. A big, grassroots movement might need the democratic structure of a society to thrive. And a large-scale operation that's trying to get major funding and grants, they'll probably need the protection and professional structure of a Section 8 company. It all comes back to your mission and your goals. And that really leaves you with one final question to ask yourself. When you think about your mission, what do you value most? Is it the long-term stable control of a trust, which gives you autonomy? Is it the member-driven, participatory nature of a society, which champions democracy? Or is it the legal and financial shield of a Section 8 company, which offers protection? The answer to that question will point you to your path.